Hey y'all, what's up? Jamie, that's me here. Welcome back to the channel. Listen, just wanted to come give you guys a quick update on what's been going on with Armon and Funky Dineva. Now, for those of you guys that may have been under a rock, Funky Dineva did an interview with Carlos King, and when he did that interview, he touched on Armon Wiggins being one of the individuals that he believes is up next, okay, in the YouTube sector. Now, when he mentioned that, he also touched on Fox Soul. As you all know, that Armand was a part of that show. Fox Soul, it has now been, or at least shall I say, TGIF. All right. It has now been dismantled. It is of no more. And he gave his thoughts about that. He felt as though Armand was, immature. Okay. He felt like Armand had a major part in the breakdown of that show and that show being canceled or whatever the case is. Okay. These are things that Funky said. Once Armand got wind of it, he felt like, Funky was giving a lot of backhanded compliments and not actual factual information. Okay. So with that, he decided to take to his social media. And what I tell you, he got on, first of all, he got on Twitter. He went in for about 2 hours, and then he hopped on his own YouTube channel later that day, provided us with receipts, and went to slap in, okay, on not just Funky, but it seems like everybody that's been coming down on him, trying to blame him as the person that has caused the breakdown of this show. Okay. So he went completely off on that situation. And, he definitely went off on Funky. He watched, the interview, paused certain parts, addressed certain things, definitely showed receipts and stuff like that. So it was a lot going on. I did do a video on that earlier today. So if you guys have not seen it, you definitely can go and check that video out from earlier today. Now, it's been a lot going on. Armand has taken a slight break from, YouTube, social media, but he did kind of hop back on to Twitter not much longer. So yeah, after everything went down, so he hopped on there for a little bit. I think he's back into talking about female rap and stuff, especially since Young Miami and Saucy had this doggone interview, and the people are literally dragging them for it because it made no sense. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, now like I said, Armand went off on Funky, provided some receipts to pretty much let the people know that Al was a motherfucking problem. He said Funky came to him and told him, like, listen, don't trust this person, don't trust that person, don't trust Claudia, whatever, whatever. This is my experience. And Armand was like, yeah, you told me all of that, but you did not tell me about Al. Okay. And I think my biggest issue was people walking around trying to make it seem as though Al is completely exempt of behavior. And I'm like, he ain't no saint, Yeah, Claudia moved a certain way that we don't like. Armand may have done some things that we don't like, but let's not act like, Al is completely a saint because he was the one that ended up getting roasted. I think that there is enough blame to go around instead of saying that it was one person major over the other. I just don't think that's fair. I stood by that from the beginning and I'm continuing to stand by that. All right. Now, Funky Dineva did take to his live. He's been doing his lives on his channel very regularly. Okay. And in this live, he decided to, acknowledge the things that Armand said, even though people said that he was not going to respond. I'm glad that he did. He did acknowledge some things that Armand said, and he ended up apologizing to him. And we are going to get into that. I will say this. He also put another video out on his social media talking about more. And then also it appears that him and Armand may have texted and may have even talked. So we'll learn more about that. But I really appreciate the response, in my opinion, of Funky coming back and, sharing his thoughts and whatever with Armand. For me, definitely appreciated that. And yeah, I wonder if Funky, I don't even know if he'll even go back to watch the interview that he did with Carlos, because he definitely, was contradicting himself in some parts of that video, because you can't say that you don't know what all was happening behind the scenes since you left, but then you were aware of everything that Armand did behind the scenes while you were gone. That just doesn't make sense. Okay. For our Funky to be able to come to us and kind of go off about Foxo and go off on Claudia and, snap at Tasha K and stuff, it shouldn't be good for the goose. But then when Armand does it, he's immature and it's not right. And it's this, that, and the other. Okay. Um, so it's like, it's okay for you to do it. It's cool when you do it. It's a problem when I do it. Gotcha. All right. But I like how Funky explained it too, because if this is your brand and this is your reputation, you need to be more mindful about how you handle problematic situations that may come your way, because you never know who's watching you, and you never know how it may affect the next opportunity that may fall in your lap or whatnot. So you got to just be careful with how you move with those things. And I think that Funky was giving some sound advice, but because I'm not in Armand's shoes, I haven't had the conversation. I didn't feel a way based on how Funky was wording things. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in the situation, so it's easier for me to judge on the outside. So I don't really fault him for wanting to express himself and get it out and let Funky know how he feels. But hopefully, this will definitely be a learning lesson for Armand to really look and reflect and see how he handled this. And I don't, and I do kind of still feel like he didn't really do anything wrong. He was very emotional about it, so I get it. You know what I'm saying? Going to slap hell off, you upset, people trying to pile on you, making it seem like you're the person that's the problem. Then they pile on Claudia, but ain't nobody too much saying anything about Al and his participation or any of that. So I do understand where Armand was coming from, with his video on yesterday. But in the long run, when you reflect on where you want to be in the long, you want to play the long game, then sometimes you have to be a bit more strategic with how you handle certain matters at hand. Okay. So those are some of my thoughts, and I'm sure I'm going to have more thoughts. But right now, I want to go ahead and let us check out, for those that may not have checked it out, what Funky had to say to Armand about said situation. So let us get into that.
Kelly Price. All right. So here we go. I was in here. So caption. I'm about to address the Armand situation. Okay. I was in here in the bathroom, getting ready for the show. And this is not finna be what y'all think, actually. And I just thought about it. You know what I'm saying? I just thought about it, and I thought, what is the correct way to, respond to all of this without creating uh a further crap storm of the situation. And I'm gonna start off by saying, honestly, I'm not even upset. After seeing Armand's or bits and pieces of his emotional response, it's very hard for me to even be upset with him, because it just came off very childlike. And from where I sit, um, it literally would be the equivalent of me being upset with one of my nephews. You know what I'm saying? It's to be quite honest, and even to this point, I am still a supporter of Armand. I can't even bring myself to be mad or bothered by the situation. I'm if anything, I'm just highly disappointed, because I'm shaking my head and I'm like, the very thing that I was trying to give you some constructive criticism on was the very thing that you exemplified. You just had an all-out fit. And here's the thing, I'm not telling anybody that they don't have the right to be upset, or they don't have the right to be mad, or they don't have the right to feel any type of way, because he does. But it what I saw in part of his response was somebody who was hurting. What I think is unfortunate is you have two people, myself and Carlos King, who have the ability to garner a lot of attention in the urban pop culture space. And there are a lot of eyeballs on that interview, and the subject that is TGIF, by both fans, networks, and producers. And I just find it unfortunate that you could not find it somewhere in yourself to hold it together and present yourself slightly better than that with all these people that are watching and that want the tea and that want the salaciousness. And you played right into it and totally, totally exemplified what I said, which was a lack of maturity. And, you know, while I did not mean to hurt your feelings or hurl it as an insult, and I didn't think you take it that way, you know, I further support what I said. It's a complete lack of maturity. Armon, I was very kind and gracious in my words about you and your talent. I actually think fairly highly of what it is that you do. Here is what I know. I don't know the ins and outs of what was going on over there after I left. I don't. I don't know what all you are experiencing. I don't. You're absolutely, you and a lot of other people are absolutely right. The only information that I am and was receiving was from Al. Claudia and I are not in relationship, and I did not talk to any other producers after I left the show. So there is a world where my perspective on things can be a bit askew. However, coupled with what I experienced while I was there, while it may be one-sided, I highly doubt that it's so one-sided to the point where my assessment of it still was unfair. Um, a hardcore fact, regardless of how the roast came about, there was a roast that took place, and then the show never came back. There was a roast that took place, and the show never came back. So it is reasonable for one to conclude that the roast was a contributing factor in the show not coming back. That's an irrefutable fact. There was a roast, and then the show never came back, unless I'm missing something. I did not watch Armon's video. I got a couple bits and pieces from friends. Me personally, I don't torture myself by sitting back and watching things where people are just going in on me. But my friend did send me a clip at the end where Armon was crying, and he was saying that nobody knows what he was going through and that he was catching it on all ends or both ends or something to that effect. And I 100% agree with him. And the position that you found yourself in, Armon, was the very position I was trying to prevent you from being in. Hence why I gave you all the information that you needed to navigate that space. See, the unfortunate thing is, you know, you've got one person who has made it their life's mission to be in all the comments, responding to all the blogs, doing all the interviews, the first person to break the news that the show was canceled before the show was even officially canceled. The only person doing all the talking, you notice everybody else is quiet, and thus that's the person driving the narrative. You got swept up in some games that were being played before you entered the scene, and you made the choice to align yourself with the very side, and I'm going to reveal some stuff here. You chose to align yourself with the very person when you were auditioning who went to the execs and said, he does not like women. I feel threatened when working with this person. This person is not a good fit. And whether you know it or not, and despite how you may feel about Al at this point in time, It was Al who stood up for you and said, you know what? I have to draw the line here. It's one thing if you don't want to work with him. That's one thing. It's another thing for you to ruin his name with the whole Fox organization. Okay. Once that was revealed to me, that is when I started working on your behalf in the background. That's when I began texting Joyce saying, Joyce, y'all would be a doggone fool not to hire Armon. Y'all would be a fool. He's the only one that can do it. Then, if you notice, when I posted that post on my Instagram and I said, Armon did so good, y'all. It's nobody else that can take my spot except Armon. That was all intentional, Armon. That was all intentional. That was me and Al working in the background to get you the job because she was working so hard for you not to get it. The PTSD from me being there, you even told me that she called you and said, don't think because you got a YouTube page and you got a YouTube following that means anything over here. The same one who said you were talking too much, that you need to dial it back, that you needed to fall back. You can take what I gave you, you can take it any way you want to take it. Based on the experience that I had there, I felt like I was doing you a service, not a disservice, by disclosing everything that I experienced when I was working there. You know, unfortunately, somehow or another, you were able to get swept up in a game that was much bigger than you. And honestly and truthfully, I felt like I prepped you good enough for you not to have got swept up in that. And I think what I see in you is also what I see in a lot of younger gays is that they cling to these women thinking that these women gonna take them somewhere. And honestly and truthfully, you got swept up in her game, and collectively that game caused that show to get canceled. Again, everybody wants me to speak on Al and condemn Al and all these different things. Listen, I am pretty sure that there is enough blame to go around. The stuff that is being said about Al, simply, I was not there. Okay. I wasn't there. I was not there. So whatever it is he's talking about between the time that he was there, I don't know anything of that. When I was there, Al by himself was not the problem. All right. There was enough blame to be spread amongst everybody, if we're being honest. But when I was there, Al by himself was not the problem. Again, what transpired between January and that time that show got canceled with Al, I do not know. So I cannot speak on it. But I just find it unfortunate that even in me giving you some what I felt to be constructive criticism, Armon, that you still found a way to uphold the very thing that I said what was holding you back. I hate that you went out like that. I really do. Because at the end of the day, while you were upset and you have the right to be upset, and you endured your own set of whatever you endured, and I give you credit, you did walk into the middle of a SHIT storm armed with enough information. I honestly wish you would have just remained neutral and stayed out of it. That really would have been the best course of action, because you came into the situation in the middle of the story. And there is 2.5 years, almost 3 years of story that happened before you got there. And that's what I was trying to give you, Armon. And the very thing that I was trying to prevent by giving you the information is the very thing that you fell victim to. And I still think, based on your response, you don't even see how you got played in all of this.
Mm.
I can't even be mad with you because you are a victim. I have to give you that. You are legitimately a victim in this situation. You got played in one of the worst ways. You did. And unfortunately, in getting swept up in a game that you did not understand, I guess the fair thing to say is that all three of y'all collectively got that show canceled. Nevertheless, Armon, as far as I'm concerned, I see you're hurt. I hate that you're hurt. If my words caused you any duress and or stress, I sincerely apologize. That was not my intent. I really was trying to big you up and give you a bit of constructive criticism on the side. You didn't take it that way. But me being just a little older and a bit more mature about it, this is not one of those situations where I'm going to take back what I said, because what I said was said from a place of love, and it was said to only benefit you. And now I'm going to have to actually double down on it, dog. There is a maturity piece, Armon, that's missing, man. And I'm saying this with so much love. It was missing with that rant, and it was missing with your response to me. Yeah, you got one off. You got one off. You did. You read me for filth, yada, yada. You feel good? I hope you do. But you're not going to get nothing for it. That's the thing. And like, people are watching. So now he's volatile. He's going to be uneasy to work with. Whenever we hire him, he's going to go off of the deep end. And that's why I'm extending grace, compassion, empathy, and sympathy for you. Like, dog, you got to step that maturity piece up, Armon. Say it with love. Now, you can read me for filth again. You cannot heed to it. But I promise you, there's no ill intent. I've been there. I remember the way I showed my ass when I went through that Michelle Brown situation. I remember Dimitri and Lucas calling me, texting me, saying, Funky Dineva, I am in a lot of journalism circles right now, and you need to take that down. This looks very bad. Everybody is talking about you. You look very volatile. I remember my agent calling me saying, what are you doing? I remember the doors that got closed in my face because I behaved that way. Because you are another Black gay man in this space that is being recognized, I was trying to help you. And I won't apologize for that. I was trying to help you. And I'm still trying to help you. Like I said, I'm not mad. You can pick up the phone today, tomorrow, and call me, and I promise you we can talk about it and go get a drink. Black man, I want you to know I see your hurt. I'm sorry for anything that I may have contributed to that hurt, but my intentions were pure. And I hope that we can get past this. Because like I said, I don't feel no ways tired about it. I'm not bothered. It didn't move me none. I get it, and I just wish things hadn't been the way it was. With that being said, that's all I got left on it, y'all. That really is all I got left. And we're going to go on.
All right. So y'all just heard everything that Funky had to say to Armon. I didn't think that it was really bad of what all he had to say in my personal. You know, I didn't think that it was completely bad. He could have responded yelling, hooping, hollering, whatever. in response, but he said he's not mad and he's still open for them to have a conversation. I do not like, in my opinion, how he allowed Al to be his source of information when it came to everything, but complain about somebody else being in the ear of Armon when you knew that you had someone in your ear, which happened to be Al. I don't think that that was fair because you were already getting things biasly. And then just the way that it was put out, like, the things that I know that Armon was doing behind the scenes type, like making it even more problematic. So let's say Armon would have never even done his rant, right? Let's say he would have never even went off, did his rant, didn't even do a video and just paid it. I feel like that's still problematic for him, in my opinion, to sit in the interview and to hear that you're saying that Armand was doing things behind the scenes, and then you're getting it one-sidedly, from a person that's still in their feelings about being roasted or whatnot. So I'm like, that could be damaging as well. That's enough to me to want for people to make think, oh, he's not good to, work with behind the scenes. He's going, or, he's not going to be good to work with. He's going to be a problem. He's going to be hard to work with, whatever the case is. I mean, we've seen that with other people in Hollywood. Once you get a small narrative about yourself, it carries, you know, and a person doesn't even have to really see you act in any manner. It could just be more so what they've heard, and that could be a problem as well. So I feel like could have been, a bit more careful with that. What else? I do appreciate him admitting that the roast contributed to, part of the show going away, but it was not the major reason. In the interview, Funky made it appear as though Armand was a major reason. And then, Carlos said, so you believe that it's his fault? No, I'm not saying it's his fault, but I do believe that it was a major reason. Like, on what job will you be able to go and, roast and all this other stuff, or whatever the case is. So I appreciate him admitting that it contributed to it, but it was not the major reason. And he finally got to that place where he's like, oh, I guess it's enough blame to go around. Yeah, it has to be enough blame. Like, yeah, everybody damn participated. Absolutely. It's not just on one person. I do feel like, his good friend was not being held completely accountable for any role that he may have played. You know what I'm saying? It is sad that Armand did get swept up in the games, though, because I tell you this, I agree with Funky when he said, when he pretty much called out Claudia for being one of the people to go to HR. For me, and everybody handles things differently, right? So I really don't, I would be a bit more cautious to be around an individual that may have gone to HR on me and had so much to say about me before I can even really get my foot in the door. You really don't want me here. But now all of a sudden you want me here so that you can talk to me to find out if that person may have told me anything about you, or whatever the case is, for your personal benefit and gain. Like, now you want to, get to know me. And then now it's like you guys are bonding over, how some people go off and they bond over the person they don't like. That's what that's giving. Y'all bonding over people y'all don't like. And sometimes I feel like that doesn't always last long, but we'll have to see. It may be a great friendship with them. Only Claudia and Armand really know the dynamics, the true dynamics of that friendship. On the outside looking in, I would be more cautious, but um, do your thing. I think it was very wrong for Al to be sitting up there trying to play them against each other. You over there texting one person saying this and then texting the other person saying that, and literally playing them the hell out. And Armand literally sat up there and got played. Okay, it sounded like Funky was trying to say that Armand was over there trying to ruin his name. Is that what I heard? He was trying to say that the guy Armand was trying to ruin his name with Fox Soul or something like that. I'm like, what is that? I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that part. But yeah, I mean, I think that was pretty much everything that I wanted to mention about it. I just really appreciate him admitting finally that, everybody had something to do with that. Um and yeah, I mean, if I was Armand, I really would have been looking at, Claudia a bit sideways, and definitely would have been looking at Al sideways. Like, I don't, y'all on the same level right now. Okay. I can't trust no goddamn body. You know, and that's how I really would have entered the situation. I wouldn't have chose no side, because whatever y'all got going on ain't got nothing to do with me and won't have shit to do with me at all. Okay, I do not have to hang out with y'all or do anything. I'm here to do my job, and then we finna move on. That's just how that goes, you know. But I do appreciate Funky for apologizing to him and still kind of being that, I guess, that big brother in a sense. I did not really care for the part where he said, "You can call me today, tomorrow, whenever." I'm like, well, then you pick up the phone and call him. Then why you gotta wait for him to call you? You call him. Y'all figure that thing out, okay? So yeah, so those are, some of my thoughts about that. But what I also wanted to get into with you guys was Funky taking to social media tonight. All right, so he did take to social media, and let me see if I can get that up on the screen for you guys. This is what he says. He says, "Baby, when I tell you I'm so confused right now, I really don't know what's going on. I was then and is now only speaking from the standpoint of information that I had. I don't know what else y'all want me to say. I have no problem correcting anything or retracting anything if someone can get me the most up to date and accurate information." So let's go ahead and check out the video to see exactly what Funky is talking about.
Now, y'all, I am sitting in my house and I'm just like reading the comments on my last live and just piecing things together. And I am in this house laughing my behind off, because where I am right now mentally definitely feels like that position that Portia was in on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, where her and Phaedra got into it about that stuff with Candy, and Phaedra lied about where the information came from and had Portia up here looking stupid. I was going through the comments, and the overwhelming majority of a lot of the comments are saying that I'm gaslighting Armon and that I'm refusing to call out Al. And I'm like, okay, so many people are saying this, like something has to be a little off, or there is a piece that's missing that either is not connecting with me or not connecting with y'all. So let me just clear up one thing, and so we can all try to get a little bit of understanding. Everybody is saying Al is a snake, and why don't I call out Al? I am completely being honest here, and it has nothing to do with friendship. It has nothing to do with friendship. Up until the time that I left, there was nothing for me to call Al out on outside of what we've already talked about, which is the text messages, so on and so forth. I'm seeing things in the comments about investigations, Al allegedly talking to HR, trying to get Armon fired. I am here to tell y'all at 11:25 p.m. on August 8th of 2024, I do not know nothing about that, and I did not know nothing about that. A lot of people are saying, I need to watch Armon's video because he posted some receipts. That's all fine and well. I don't indulge in trauma porn. I'm not watching nothing with somebody going off on me. You can tell your mama to do that, okay? But if anybody wants to call me and explain to me what I'm missing, then I am open to hearing it. But as far as you need to call out Al, I don't know what I would be calling him out on at this point, because I was not there. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he and I communicated, and he kept me abreast of things that were going on at TGIF. And, as with anything, people tell the stories from their side. They do. And it's not hard for me to believe much of what was coming out of his mouth, because it was consistent with a lot of what was going on when I was there. But again, call out Al, call out Al. I have no problem calling out anybody who was wrong, including myself. And I have no problem coming back and correcting something if I was wrong. I am operating in this moment off of the information that I have. Okay. When I left TGIF, Claudia and I, we were no longer in a relationship, and me and Armon never talked again. Nobody ever called me and said, let me tell you what Al did. Nobody ever said, Al is trying to get me fired. These are all things that I am finding out, and all of that is allegedly. So again, call out Al. I don't know what I'm calling him out on. And it's funny because quiet as it's kept, if I'm being totally honest, it's beginning to look like my ass the same way I said Armon got swept up in some stuff that he didn't know that he was getting swept up in. It's starting to look like my ass done got swept up in some stuff that I don't know. So if somebody want to fill me in, if somebody want to call me and let me know what all the hell going on, please call me, because I don't appreciate sitting up here on the internet looking like Portia when she was looking stupid down to that reunion. And if I'm being totally honest, that's how I feel right now. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. Somebody fill me in. Now, y'all, I am.
All right, so y'all just heard some of what Funky said, okay? One thing I really took from that was him saying that, just one of the things. He said that people tell stories from their side. You're right. You already knew that. So it's like, why didn't you just go ahead and take that time to call Armon to get his side instead of automatically assuming that he was the major reason for the show ending? So yeah, that's why I feel like nobody in this situation is a 100% saint. It definitely fault that can be spread out, okay? Like Uno cards, period. Um, but yeah, so this is some of what he's saying. He didn't know what to hold Al accountable for. And my question is, once you find out how he was over there playing in between Armand and playing in between Claudia, would you be calling him out about anything? Would you be letting him know, like, yo, your dad is wrong? You know, you shouldn't have been moving like that. Why are you telling this man on one day, oh, I love Armand? Why are you going on his live saying, oh, I love Armand, everything is great, we're doing good? And then like 2 days later or so, you over there trying to team up with Claudia to get the man off the show. You know? Um, Very sad and unfortunate. And the crazy thing is, child, Claudia only gave them messages to Armand to expose Al. But she was also there trying to participate too. Child, it's just it's probably a great thing that the show is done. It probably is just like a really great thing, because y'all will still be over there operating in toxicity while y'all grown asses over there making six figures, and this boy over here making 70K to go through the bullshit, even though it was only for 6 months. Okay. Ain't no telling what else they would have gave him for the remainder of the year, but still. Okay. There's that. But it seems like, Funky and Armand are definitely working on, I guess, coming back together, right? Because Funky did make a post where he screenshotted where he actually sent a text to Armand. Now I'm not sure what the whole at Claudia Jordan for a whatever that post is on Instagram. Maybe that was back when they talked, because they both said that they have not talked to each other since earlier this year. Right. So maybe that had something to do with Armand trying to get onto Fox Soul at that time. But what ended up happening was Funky sent a text message to Armand, and instead of calling, he sent a text. He says, when you get to a place where you are settled enough in your spirit, we should talk. And then Armand says, I'm going to call you. Someone just sent me your video. I'm cracking up. So it's given neither one of them are really upset. As Funky said, I'm not mad. He said that he was just a bit disappointed. And I think Armand feels the same exact way. Like, I was mad at the time, but I'm no longer mad because, you was talking about some shit that you didn't know nothing about. Now I got the receipts, you know what I'm saying? And hearing your response, I'm no longer mad at this time, but I am disappointed that you had access to me. And I'm just kind of slick putting words in their mouth. I don't know how it went, but it could have potentially went like this. Okay. You was over there, you had access to me, and you were allowing someone else to be in your ear. Okay, giving you enough juice in your power pack, your battery pack, for you to go onto your interview and say certain things as though I was the major factor as to why it all came crashing down. So, and you had access to me. So you're absolutely right. People tell stories from their side. You could have called and you could have gotten my side, and I would have told you what was really up. You know what I'm saying? Especially for you to say that how things may look, and how opportunities are missed and certain things like that, then you gotta also, in my opinion, be careful with when you do these interviews, and then you trying to make it seem like he's problematic in a sense when you say, he's immature, I know about some things that he's done behind the scenes. Like, that's a little dog whistle to me. Eh, I don't think that, because even if he would have never did a video at all, those statements of what you said on that interview would have still been out there about him. you know Meanwhile, you're allowing your friend to fly under the radar. He's still continuing to fly under the radar because everyone has spoken but him. But you're not even placing him in any type of fault. Any type of fault. It's the person that's new, that's coming into the situation, and then also this woman over here because she can't take a joke or whatever the case is, with Claudia and Funky, and she was the problem. But nothing about your good Judy, your good friend. Yeah, I think how you so eloquently, how Funky so eloquently put his words together, to call out, whether it was Claudia or Armand. I think that you can do the same thing when you are friends with people, especially if you say, "Oh, I can say this, because I'll say this to Armand's face." Well, if you're friends, I'll say this because I'll say this to Al's face. You know what I'm saying? X, Y, and Z. But according to Funky, he did say that a lot of what we may know now, he was not privy to any of this because he was getting one-sided information from Al based on Al's side of the situation. Never had an issue with Armand, so you could have always got his side. I understand if you would have never got Claudia's because y'all wasn't featuring each other. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, So just really, really interesting or whatnot. Um, so I am interested in knowing how this conversation is going to go between them. Once Funky put this post up, he also tagged Armand to this post, and then he said we finna get to the bottom of it. Stay tuned. Now, what would be wonderful, and I won't be surprised if we see this, we might just see Armand on Funky's platform, and they may have a whole sit down conversation of some sort over on Funky's platform, possibly to sort through whatever the issues may be. And I don't know. I wonder if he's going to try to bridge the gap that's in between Armand and Al at this time. I don't think Armand is currently ready because, as Armand said on the live last night, he was like, "Listen, are you right? I roasted them up. Okay, they kept putting me through this, doing this and that. Yeah, I roasted them, and I'll do it again." Okay, so it seems like he has a strong disdain for Al, but I think he had a bit more of respect for Funky and was really disappointed in the language that was used during that interview and stuff. Even if that is the case, Armand got to grow up, be mature. I think everybody in the YouTube space, everybody in this entertainment space, as long as you're living and you're working, you're gonna always have to grow. That should be a part. You always should want to grow and figure out how you can do things and make things better. That should always be the case. But also with you being so aware, I think you just should have been more mindful with how he rolled that information out. Um, about him. And then I just feel like sometimes we can see a person on YouTube or wherever we see them and they always showing so whatever the case is on certain platforms. So when a narrative is put out there about them, yeah, sometimes it is easy to believe that what's being said is absolutely true. Right. But then sometimes consider the possibility, consider the fact that it could not even be what it is. It just sounds like it's fitting based on the behavior that we have we've been shown, right? So yeah, consider the possibility that that's not true. Maybe it didn't happen that way, but then at the same time, when you act in a better manner and don't give these people stuff to run with, then they won't have anything, right? So those are just my thoughts. It's a learning lesson. If not for anybody else, definitely for Armand. Definitely for Armand. I think he's very talented. I think he can go very far, in my opinion, just as far as Funky, if not further. Just got to reel in some things, and it's all a part of his journey. So I just don't think I think everybody has a journey that they own. Everybody's got some stuff they got to work on. Ain't nobody out here perfect. So I just didn't think that people should really just be coming down on him like, you ended the show. The show is over because of you. That narrative sounded cute, but that's not what it was. Um, But yeah, guys, I just wanted to come and give y'all my fair thoughts on the matter, give you guys an update on what it is that Funky is saying and apologizing to Armon about, and still not holding Al accountable because he's saying that he does not know exactly what Al did. Okay. It seemed like whatever friends there were that were sending things to Funky were sending more of what it is that Armon had to say about him instead of also clipping out those clips for him to view, the ones where Al was over there playing him. Okay. Make sure y'all go back, those same friends, go back and clip that portion and send a piece of that to him. And then when he talks about the investigations and things that were happening prior to the roast, make sure you clip that portion out and send that over there as well. And then maybe once he have a sit down or whatever with Armon on live or something, we can get his thoughts, at that point. Okay. Um, so yeah, I see Jason, you're comical. Y'all are so pressed about Al, but he's literally said nothing about Armon or this situation. And I would say that is the problem. He also hasn't said anything about Claudia, has he? But what we did learn, and Funky also confirmed that, was that Al was talking shit about Claudia. So clock that. Okay. Clock that part. So you're right. You're not wrong. You're absolutely right. He's literally said nothing about Armon or this situation. And guess who else he didn't say anything about? Claudia. However, she's already confirmed that, and Funky did as well. So what else is going on? What else is going on? Okay. So yeah, guys. I know that's right. Al's name has been said too many times for him to be this quiet. Okay. I know, right? But I just wanted to come and give you guys my thoughts. You guys could be anywhere, but you chose to be here with me at this late hour, so I do appreciate it. I am Jami, that's me. Definitely like up the video if you have yet to do so. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can follow me on Instagram as well as Twitter at Jami, that's me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mile. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some batteries. Stand for my honor, but you run no corner.